ट्रेन करने का काम पे है।
डिसेबल की
नमस्ते। अभी कहाँ ये सब कुछ खुला हुआ है ना मेरा।
साउंड भी हो रहा है
है
लाइव हो सकता भी हो रहा है।
हाँ, ये ऑलरेडी पुराना वाला चल रहा है शायद। तो 3 बजे का है ना।
हो गया हो गया।
afternoon, sir. Ravi Shankar here.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Prem sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
कैसे हैं सर?
मैं ठीक हूँ, आप बताइए. You very good. That's remarkable.
Good afternoon, Prem sir.
Good afternoon, Prof. Benwet. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
मैं कलकत्ता से ज्वाइन कर रहा हूँ.
अरे वाह, that's great. That's great. That's great.
तो मंत्रास के लिए हम लोग सर व्याकुल हैं. We are eagerly
नहीं, वो-
awaiting for मंत्रास.
मैं बताऊंगा मंत्र क्यों कहा है मैंने, ये क्यों कहा है, किस क्यों कहा है.
नमस्कार, वेरी वार्म गुड आफ्टरनून टू यू ऑल. और सोमवार 17 जनवरी से रीथिंक इंडिया फोरम की यह जो ज्ञान यात्रा प्रारंभ हुई, आज गुरुवार को एक भारतीय हमारे शैक्षणिक जगत के सर्वोत्कृष्ट गुरु प्रोफेसर प्रेमव्रत के साथ आज यह यात्रा विराम होने को है. एक ऋषि तुल्य प्रज्ञा जिसने भारतवर्ष की शैक्षणिक व्यवस्था को, स्पेशली द टेक्नो मैनेजरियल एजुकेशन, समवन हु हैज लेड इट at the highest levels and impacted in its most profound fashion. Prof. Premrat is a testimony of Indian academia, Indian Swadeshi academia, that this is what Prof. Premrat's contribution goes over there. And today, आज ReTHINK India Forum के इस valedictory session पर, what a privilege that we have got Professor Premrat to entail the 21 e-mantras out of his lifelong sadhana. He would be sharing with us for re-engineering India for global leadership. Mantras would be matching the minds and the mindsets. हम लोगों ने एक छोटी सी अहमकता, can the global world order be re-engineered into the integral Indic quartet of Dharma, Arth, Kam and Moksha? And we have been receiving these benedictions from all savants, starting from Professor Sampadanand Mishra on 17th of January we had Professor Subhash Kak, we had Pawan Gupta ji, the whole galaxy of luminaries who addressed ReTHINK India Forum 2022, which is happening currently to a similar such meeting at Davos, whereby there has been a talk of creating a new world order. But we in 2017, ReTHINK India put forth a kind of concept paper, a kind of proposition when we were commemorating the birth anniversary, 83rd birth anniversary of India's former president, Shri Pranab Mukherjee. और तब हमने उस मंच से 108 भारतवर्ष के मनीषी कुलपति वहां विद्यमान थे, और वहां पर यह एक प्रस्तावना रखी कि कैन इंडिया गिव द नेक्स्ट इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन, can India lead the fifth industrial revolution? This is what we called at that point in time, and a vision and action plan for the year 2047 was read out at that important meeting. And today, for the sake of completeness, and before I really request Professor Premrat to give away his e-mantras for re-engineering India, I would like to read out from that प्रस्तावना. और तब हमने यह नहीं सोचा था कि इतना प्रखर मंच के रूप में यह रीथिंक इंडिया फोरम 17 से 20 जनवरी के बीच में जो यह हुआ, यह इतना प्रखरता के साथ अपना एक रूप ले पाएगा. So just to give the context of this ReTHINK India Forum and the Prastavana of re-engineering the global world order into the integral Indic quartet, we said that for the last 300 years, the world has made unprecedented progress in material development, ending up controlling the elements from mechanical means to that of electrical ones, to electronics, to the now prevalent age of convergence of information, popularly ascribed to as the fourth industrial revolution, which is being defined and refined passing quarter. Though the human race has progressed immensely in these 300 years, it has been subjected to epochs of terrific turmoil, ranging from colonial imperialism, drain of sovereign national wealth, leading to abject poverty, world wars, environmental degradation, financial meltdowns, and social chaos. Material prosperity uh, has come at the cost of losing the mental peace, social stability, and human values to a great extent. We are at the cusp of a new era whereby the technological control over the elements would be almost absolute, and the directions of its deployment would define the future fate of humanity as a whole. This is where India, the antiquated civilization of the world, which entered into an age of material regression post the colossal annihilation resulted out of the Mahabharata war, which is presumed to be the epitome of material scientific progress, dated at least 3,000 years ago, comes into prominence. Can India offer its civilizational wisdom and intellectual traditions to steer through the contemporary material advances and to lead the world towards a stable epoch of lasting peace and prosperity? Can the characteristic Indian thought on the philosophical foundations of human existence, social order, education, economy, polity, governance, administration, management, environment, development come to an aid to this? And can the Indian techno-managerial paths consider food, healthcare, water, waste, sanitation, housing, defense, security, energy, space, transport, etc., present an additional leeway to the ongoing discourse? And last but not least, can India lead this impending fifth industrial revolution? When we acronymize it, it reads as sthir, stability, which would be stable, universal, and all-encompassing. With these, I invite Professor Prem to give away his 21 E-mantras in this context for re-engineering India for global leadership through matching of minds and mindsets. Professor Prem, sir. So you have to unmute yourself, sir. Professor. Yes, sir. Sir. Sir, unmute, sir.
Muted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Will you kindly permit me to share my screen?
Yes, sir. Sir.
It says host disabled participant.
Sir.
Can you just?
Yeah.
I can share my PowerPoints. Okay. Can we do it now? Okay. Share.
डेस्कटॉप पे आना है वो जो पीपीटी थी ना सर यहाँ पे सर हाँ जी ये यहाँ पे खुली हुई है सर हाँ ये
Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great. So that I can. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Raghav Mittal and Dr. Surabhi. In fact, it's always been a pleasure to be associated with your programs, and it's so kind of you to have been remembering me whenever you mount such powerful forums. I just tried to see, when you asked me to speak in this forum, and looking at the theme of what your program for last 1 week or so has been, I thought of saying something which has been in my mind for almost a decade, and I've been saying it at here and there. And I thought this is a good forum to propose this, and therefore re-engineering, since you actually much of your rethink, India is re-engineering, and therefore this program itself is re-engineering. So re-engineering India through matching of minds and mindsets for global leadership. 21st E mantras. Now I'll explain why I have called 21 and E and mantras. It has been talked about that India is likely to be the which will grow in 21st century, the global leadership. So for being the global leader in 21st century, hence the 21. is and mantras are something which indeed are almost like sutras or commandments, and they begin with a verb. I've tried to find out verbs which will almost give it like a commandment, but starting with the letter E. And therefore, you'll know it more. The reason why I'm saying this is we've been saying so much about India being a world power, going to be like this. Many people take it almost in a very cynical manner. And therefore, what I have tried to show in this is that it's possible, but it's extremely difficult. But if you can transform Indian mindset through re-engineering through these 21 e-mantras, it definitely can be done. So what I'll say is, although it's not that easy to say as that we are going to be the global leader in this century, given where we stand today, but it's definitely possible, provided and since re-engineering different from incremental improvement is that re-engineering calls for a major breakthroughs, and therefore out of box thinking and a major transformational change in the mindset rather than incremental change. So the challenges is that you require a transformational change in the mindset, but it's doable. Why it's doable? Because I give 4 reasons for doing so, saying so. A, in the past, India was indeed a global leader. If you look at, for example, one of the oldest Indian university, Nalanda, which indeed by all standards, it was a global university. And perhaps if I tell you the parameters of Nalanda, some of the parameters of academic excellence Nalanda University had then, even the best known universities in current times don't have it. For example, 10,000 students lived on campus with 2,000 professors living on campus. So a 100% residential university. Student to teacher ratio 5:1, which indeed even the best university in the world cannot expect a student to teacher ratio 5:1. It had a 9-floor library building with 9 million manuscripts. Imagine even the best libraries in the world today do not have 9 floors of 9 million manuscripts and so on. And therefore, first reason why we can do it, because we in the past had been having this kind of our university system. Similarly, in mathematics, India was the first one, Aryabhatta, to invent zero. Prior to that, even Brahmagupta gave an idea, but Aryabhatta is someone known to have invented zero. Imagine if IPR concept was then there. Without zero, no computer science is possible, no science is possible. India would have been the richest nation in the world by getting only the IPR of zero, of having invented zero. But we believed in distributing knowledge free of cost, because that was the kind of Indian ethos. In physics, you know that atomic theory of Maharshi Kanad, Ayurveda, Charak Samhita, and as you know that even 300 to 400 years back, somewhere around 1500 AD, if you look at the share of world trade, about 50% of the global trade was between China and India. From India and China, China was 27% and India was around 23%. So half of the global trade was from these two countries. While China has regained its position of 27% or so, we have gone down substantially. And therefore, we had that kind of the past glory. That's one reason that if we were like that, why can't we be now? Second reason of my hope in making India becoming possibly a global superpower, because Indians across the world are almost leading the great multinational companies across the globe. And same very people trained in Indian context, in Indian universities, when they go abroad, they're able to get the kind of a fertile environment in which they can flourish. And they're already almost all major top multinational companies are being headed by Indians. Not only that, even the top American universities, there are many presidents and deans and so on. And therefore, they are tremendously able to demonstrate their prowess. That's my second reason. If they can do it there, why can't we do it here? And this reminds me of a very painful observation once when in IIT Delhi, maybe some 25 years back, there was a chairman of Slumberger came to speak in Senate. And he said that I have not been able to understand one question. Why is it that Indians across the globe are doing extremely well except in India? And I felt that it was slightly uncharitable comment, but then take it on its face value. The same very people, when they go out, they achieve wonders. My third reason for being hopeful about this is that India has a demographic dividend potential. 55% of Indians are less than 25 years of age. If we can make these people globally employable, and that's where the question of mindset will come in, where I'll come, I'm making a background. If we can make these people globally employable, the whole world, and particularly if we look at the Indian demographic profile in conjunction with the aging profile of the developed nation, and increasingly technology-driven quality of life that those countries are leading, if we can make these people globally employable, the whole world would be actually rushing towards India in search of talent. And that's what actually will, and the fourth reason of my hope in doing so, that Indians have brilliant minds. Indian minds are brilliant. I believe that perhaps an Indian mind is genetically the most brilliant material on earth. And a very simple manifestation of that is you make any complex rules, any complex systems, they will be the first one to find a loophole into it. Only the best of the brains can do it, because the moment they find there's something in it for them, their entire creativity starts functioning. So when they can be individually so creative to hoodwink any system, that means the great minds exist. And now the paradox that despite great minds, despite demographic dividend potential that we have, despite our very, very glorious past, why is it? And despite all Indians occupying top positions in the developed world, why is it that in the overall ranking of the World Development Index, almost on major positive points we are fairly low, on many negative points we are fairly high? And therefore, this actually the reason why I thought of raising this issue. And therefore, excellence, we definitely have quality minds, but excellence does not on quality minds alone. It requires an equally matching quality mindset. And therefore, the thesis that I'm developing, that when we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, we want to make Indian products to be globally competitive. And therefore, we cannot simply by being vocal about local, unless those local are globally competitive. That means they offer value for money, which means they're able to deliver a better quality at a lower cost. And therefore, the moment it's possible, and for that, we need to also change our mindset, because we have to respect our Indian products and people. What actually one of the biggest factor, and you might recollect that in one of your previous interaction with me, I had said that one of the major stumbling block in our mindset is what I have been calling as a Macaulay mindset. Because of the kind of education system, somewhere we always prefer, love, adore, respect anything foreign, anything English, and anybody, same thing. If some Indian says it here, our people may not take him as seriously as the same thing said it by someone outside. And this is what I call Macaulay minds. So unless you also start respecting your people, your education system, your culture, your values, and start giving preference to your own people first, well, keep your minds and eyes open, but then preference has to, otherwise, only when somebody outside India appreciates you, we start appreciating ourselves. And this is a classical case of Mumbai Dibbawalas, where they've been in existence since 1888. But only when Forbes magazine developed an article about them, that they are the truly Six Sigma company in India, the entire Indian organization started respecting them. And this Macaulay mindset is somebody outside India has to recognize you first, and then we start appreciating you. This is, again, an important stumbling block in the mindset. And therefore, my focus here is since we have all the prerequisites in place, we simply need to nurture our mindsets to be as quality mindset as our minds are. And this then, in fact, this would make us globally employable. For example, the employability model that you see here, to me, employability, which indeed is, it could be a single reason for basis of any university system, is attitude multiplied by alpha times knowledge plus 1 is alpha times. So knowledge and skill in an innovated manner is a component of intelligence or knowledge. But knowledge multiplied by attitude is what makes a person employable. And if the entity inside the bracket is very large, but multiplied by something negative outside this bracket, then same very intelligent entity becomes extremely unemployable, because nobody would like to hire an extremely brilliant person he perceived to be negative. And therefore, as a result, in order to improve our global employability as a facilitator, we need to look at excellence as a product of quality of mind and quality of mindsets. Now, while quality of minds is almost there, and almost, as I said, that it's not and therefore, and this is why I find a very positive about it, is doable, except that it's not easy. You have to make efforts, and that's why 21 e-mantras must be seen in, that you know yourself how difficult it is to be there. But if we can do that, because the quality of mind multiplied by quality of mindset. Now you can imagine if you have great quality of mind, but multiply the quality of mindset, which is, let's say, multiply 0.2. The intelligence does get diluted. So since it's a multiplicative model, it's a product of both the mindset and mind together. The thesis that I'm proposing, that once you're able to have quality mind and quality mindset together, then nobody can stop us from achieving the great, because all other parameters are in place. Our past history shows that. That's why you see our ancient education system created a culture developing positive attitude and high quality mindsets. Well, if you look at why it was there possible, because that kind of education system, the Guru Shish Parampara, respected the Guru, and even a king will bow down before the Guru. Not a materialistic society, but a respected talent, respected values. That was a reason perhaps why Nalanda could become a globally famous university, because even a king would respect a guru or acharya in Nalanda and would liberally grant support. Therefore, as a result, maybe the distortion in the attitudes, values, and mindset due to cutthroat individualism and preference to foreign goods, foreign languages, and foreign people over our own, perhaps contributed to the present scenario of low quality of education, low employability, and negative attitudes and mindsets. We tend to almost ridicule or first things to say, but negative about, and therefore, as a result, despite a brilliant mind, a world-class quality system in ranking, we are not there. And some of the inhibitors of that, lack of customer focus. If you look at Mahatma Gandhi, when he said, the customer is most important visitor to our premises, he's not dependent on us, we are dependent on him. He's not an interruption in our work, he's the purpose of it. He's not external to our business, he's part of it. And we are not doing him a favor by serving him, he is doing so by giving us an opportunity. If we had looked at the customer from Gandhian lens, our Indian products would have been dominating the world market. So in a way, one of our major, and the reason why we have a relatively lower customer focus, because of a fundamental distortion in the value system, where there's utmost concern for self and very little concern for others. Because customer is someone else. And therefore, lack of customer focus, lack of eye for details. We may talk very, very big, but why great lofty strategies fail on ground? Because the minutest eye for detail in implementing on ground is we do not detail out. So for a very silly reason, things actually very well thought out strategies do not get the entire implementation, because we have not looked to the nuts and bolts of the process of implementing those grandiose strategies. Third is high tolerance for ambiguity. For example, particularly for time, and absolutely plus minus half an hour is not late at all. Therefore, if you look at the whole world, if you even, for example, in Japan, if the train is 2 seconds late, it's perceived to be late. If you start measuring the lateness of a train by 2 seconds, people say that I am perhaps crazy, that I'm thinking that degree of precision in my operational running. We have tremendous tolerance for ambiguity on time, on quality. And instead of even conforming to the requirement, chalega, chalta hai culture is coming primarily because of the tremendous tolerance for ambiguity and quality. Another attribute is coming a major is very myopic perception in decision making. We are we are getting interested in shortcuts, subsystem thinking. Only what do I get, what do my department gets, and while making decisions, a very short-sighted subsystem myopic process of decision making. Inadequate focus on quality education, quality research, and quality planning. Now, to me, I call it as a kind of an ERP, education, research, and planning. While we talk so much about the other ERP, to me, these are the fundamental priority areas for a nation building process. And any amount of investment in education, any amount of investment in research, and any amount of focus in attracting the best brains to planning, these are the prerequisites. And because we are spending less time on it, hence, now I'm coming to those mantras, regain global leadership, which is feasible. And I already been building a background, it's feasible due to intrinsically brilliant minds and the demographic dividend potential that we have. So we need to re-engineer our mindset, our attitude. That's why my entire focus on the mindset. We need to re-engineer. That means a major breakthrough, not an incremental change in our mindsets, our attitude to match our minds. Incremental approach won't do because we're looking for a global leadership. Incremental approach might improve our present scenario to maybe a notch better. We are truly looking for Vishwaguru status. Our approach has to be transformational and not incremental. Hence, the word engineering. And incremental approach will not do. To expect major breakthroughs, we need to re-engineer our education system, our values, our customer orientation, so that our high IQ must be matching with our high EQ, emotional quotient, and we see them to totality. That's a background. With this background, I now suggest these 21 mantras I have already given. 21 because relevance is because of you can keep increasing the list. 21 because 21st century. Mantras, we have to give them a kind of a set of commandments, a rules or sutras, that thou shalt do this, thou shalt not do that. It brings it, and starting with a verb, starting with the letter E. So I've used all possible verbs starting with E and try to force fit them somewhere so that the basic point is conveyed. And of course, I must give a usual disclaimer. This is not an exhaustive list, nor mutually exclusive, and nor need be universally accepted. It's my personal view. And if you don't agree with you can throw it off. I'm absolutely equally be happy. Now, having given you, let me now come to these 21 mantras. I've already given the background. You can then appreciate all starting with E and almost in the form of a mantra as a commandment or a sutra. And what it does, basically, if you like, all are intended to improve the mindset. Minds are already there. And the expectations in these mantras is so major transformational that but I can vouch that if you can achieve these, nobody can stop us from getting the global leadership. But then to get these is, and not some individuals across the country. And let's now look at these 21 mantras very quickly. For example, eliminate wastes of all kinds. Time, money, space, energy, and talent. Perhaps you will find that we are wasting almost all of these in some for the other. And huge amount of wastages. You have talent wastages and talent shortages coexisting in industry. We will say low employability, and there is a tremendous crunch of shortage of talent. So you'll find that almost this sutra takes care of eliminate. The word is eliminate waste of all kinds. Time, money, space, energy, and talent. Right now we're indulging in all of them. Number 2, enforce ethical. The word is enforce. Ethical conduct, discipline, punctuality, cleanliness at all places, at all times. In fact, you find that if we can do it, in fact, I can vouch 2 simple tests whether India becomes a developed nation or not. If entire Indians population can ensure punctuality and cleanliness. The country will be a developed country. These two are very simple parameters. But if we can't ensure these two things, talking big about it, so enforce ethical conduct, discipline, punctuality, cleanliness at all places, at all times. Both all times and all places, not at the time of only some photo ops. At all times should be part of your DNA to be punctual, to be clean, to be disciplined, and to conduct in an ethical manner. Third is eradicate corrupt practices, illiteracy, and extreme income imbalances between rich and poor. Now you find that today, if you look at, in fact, a mind-boggling imbalance that exists in the distribution of wealth in the country. Top 1% of Indian population accounts for 77% of Indian wealth. Top 1%. And there are 58 Indians, not percent, 58 Indians who account for nearly 22% of Indian wealth. Whereas top 10% have 96 times more wealth than the remaining 50% of Indians. So there's an acute, extreme income imbalance or wealth imbalance. And you can know that from a holistic perspective, any imbalance is a sign of disease. That if we find such a tremendous imbalance in the wealth distribution in the nation, the kind of discipline and the expectations in it, so we need to eradicate corrupt practices, illiteracy, and extreme income imbalance between rich and poor. Evolve right priorities to avoid misplaced emphasis on non-issues. This is a very important thing. Almost so, we normally spend a lot of time on non-issues, and the real priority dimensions get totally ignored. So we need to develop a mindset of out of evolving the right priority set, and not wasting our time on non-issues. And unfortunately, you'd find it could do almost each of these sutras could become a paper by itself by demonstrating its relevance. And therefore, it's time that we, whatever we decide, we evolve right priorities and avoid misplaced emphasis on non-issues. Indeed. Fifth one, enshrine excellence, focus in any task from routine to now. A great quality mindset would do even a so-called mundane job with good quality focus. And not that mundane jobs do not require a quality focus. Therefore, right from routine to strategic, you must make use of enshrine the excellence focus. And for that, in fact, the other is equal to MC square, which I'm making embedding into this itself. Excellence is motivation to commitment square. So when we do a job half-heartedly, excellence will never come. And therefore, unfortunately, many times, particularly the routine job, we tend to do half-heartedly. And to me, anything done half-heartedly can never achieve excellence, because excellence is any task done extremely well from routine, and therefore enshrine that. And for that is anything which does not have quality dimension, not worth doing. So ensure that whatever, right from routine, mundane, so-called mundane job, to me, every job is good, nothing mundane. And therefore, from routine to strategic, it has to be excellence driven. Then sixth is evaluate options based on life cycle costing, both visible and hidden, economic and non-economic. Many times we take decisions based on very visible cost, whereas the invisible consequences that may be 100 times more than the visible cost, but we get swayed by that. And therefore, the moment you start evaluating options of investment or investment in education or anything, both hidden and visible, in opportunity cost perspective from life cycle costing, whatever you think is costly will become cheap, and whatever you think is cheap will become costly, because we tend to ignore. And therefore, it's time that we develop a mindset where everything we evaluate in the life cycle perspective, including visible and hidden and visible costs, economic and non-economic costs. There are tremendous social costs associated with a proposal, and we tend to only look at economics. Then seventh is emulate the best practices and role models from Indian context and ancient knowledge system first. There are enough role models available in India itself, in our past, in our present. We need to search for them, and only then to emulate the best practices. So use role model approach to emulate the best practices and follow what these role models have been doing to achieve what they have achieved in life. And maybe from their life, from their system, their practices, many great ideas to leapfrog in a big way can take place. Endorse eye for details paradigm. That means for anything there, unless you get down, simply don't talk big, translate into the implementation, because it has been found that many of our great ideas, they fail because of the poor implementation. So if you have the eye for detail, so endorse this eye for detail paradigm that anything that you do must include the up to the last nuts and bolts for effective implementation of ideas, policies, and projects. Enhance quality of education seamlessly across the entire academic value chain. So instead of saying segregating primary education, and fortunately our national education policy has given a lot of weightage to this particular E. Employ e-governance, e-commerce, and IT-enabled services, make things or deliver services that are better, cheaper, faster, and safer. Why I'm saying safer? While we are employing e-governance, but because of the threat of cyber crime, cyber fraud, many of the potential improvements of improving the productivity of the e-governance are not easily. Many people disable their internet transactions on banking or ATM card, etc. So while there's enormous potential of e-governance, e-commerce, and IT-enabled services to deliver things and better, cheaper, faster, but due to lack of cyber security and enormous potential of cyber frauds, the full potential of this technological tool, which can translate in our productivity paradigm in a big way, but then bring the necessary cyber security into the system, examine the root cause of the problem and not address only symptoms. That's another mindset that we have. We tend to look at the symptoms of a problem and do not address the root cause. And if you only address the symptom of a problem, the tendency to suppress the symptom. The problem only gets delayed and postponed, is not solved. The symptoms resurface after some time with a bigger intensity. We further try to suppress the symptom, and as a result, the bimari becomes large after some time. And therefore, as a result, examine the root cause of a problem, because for every symptom there is a root cause. And if we address the root cause and remove the root cause, then only is a permanent solution to the problem possible. But we have a tendency to only suppress symptoms of a problem, so much so that unless symptoms exhibit themselves in a very chaotic or crisis manner, we develop a crisis-driven mindset that unless there is a crisis, we don't even recognize that a problem exists. Therefore, address the root cause of the problem and do not address only symptoms of a problem, because not going to get you the sustainable solution to the problem. Then emphasize holistic, integrated systems approach in problem solving and avoid myopic, narrow, segmented subsystem perspective. When you look at a problem may have a economic angle, a social angle, a technological angle, a human resource angle, an administrative angle, a political angle. Look at a problem in its totality and find a solution which looks at a problem in its totality rather than narrow, myopic subsystem thinking, what is in it for me? And therefore, it's only the holistic solution to the problems that will really address efficiency and effectiveness together in performance well. Now, we normally have been only focusing on efficiency, productivity. Efficiency is doing things right, and effectiveness doing the right things. In fact, you have to ensure that you do the right things rightly. It's not that you implement a wrong project efficiently. It's not done, because efficiency only makes use of the resource utilization. But if you do not pick up a right project, and even if you implement that wrong project efficiently, is no big deal. So we have to ensure that when we look at a problem, both efficiency and effectiveness are not to be seen as a trade-off. They're to be seen as both are important, so that it has to be efficient as well as effective together and not in isolation, either effective or. So being effective without being efficient is no good. You spend 10 times more money to achieve that. There's no good. You're effective, but not efficient. You're efficient, but not effective, because the purpose for which you created that project is irrelevant. So efficiency and effectiveness need to be addressed together. Encourage entrepreneurship, passion and zeal in spirit and action. So entrepreneurship should not be seen as only for setting a new firm. And the spirit of enterprising spirit, finding solutions to the problem, finding opportunity in a given context, looking at every weakness as an opportunity to improve. So in spirit and action, passion and zeal, I already said that without a passion and zeal, excellence is not possible, and therefore encourage the spirit of entrepreneurship, passion and zeal in both spirit and action. Exhibit environmental concern in line with 17 Sustainable Development Goals, because developing at the cost of the nature, or at the cost of neighbor or the nature, and therefore the 16th, ensure food and energy security for all by exploring green energy sources. Fortunately, solar energy. Why we were respecting suns? Because if other European countries were having such a great sunshine, perhaps their entire energy sources would have been solar right from then. We borrowed coal from British system. We borrowed hydrocarbons from American fuel, and therefore ignoring our own solar. Now a late starter in this, and therefore using green energy sources exhibit environmental concerns. And in our past, you will find that why people gave respect, why people give, and the population still respect people tree, because you brought in a kind of a religiosity in it, primarily because this is one tree which gives you oxygen 24 hours. And if you are simply trying to convince common people, but you say, okay, this is our, you worship a banyan tree, do not cut it, because by doing so, this enshrined in mindset of people that this is one tree which gives us 24/7 oxygen and is environmentally, so therefore, it is for that reason we need to ensure that we exhibit environmental concern in line with 17 Sustainable. Ensure food and energy. 17th, this to my mind is the root cause of everything else, and that's why this listing is not in any. It's only randomly. It can, as I said, you can educate people to develop concern for others more than concern for self. If you want to look at all major causes of all the problems, chaos on Indian roads, where everybody likes to be, look at one single reason: utmost concern for self and very little concern for others. That the others can be your spouse, the others can be your neighbor, the others can be your colleague, the others can be your team member, the others can be a customer, the others can be a river, where you throw all the rubbish to wash off your sins and pollute the river. And therefore, this utmost concern for self and relatively no concern or low concern for others, perhaps is one of the major change in transformational change in mindset needed. Because if this is done, the rest of it will become relatively easy to be implemented. And this starts from the value inculcation right from the childhood, and therefore educate people to develop concern for others much more than their concern for self, and empower employees and society to expedite solutions. So unless you empower people down the line, they will not feel involved in the process of solving problems. If they keep on passing on the buck to the higher up and keep on consulting the higher up again and again, perhaps there'll be tremendous delays, and sometimes solutions are required right on the spot. Unless you empower people and the society to expedite solutions to the problems, we will not be able to respond to the needs of solving the customer's problems quickly. Ensure transparency, equity, fairness in all processes, policies, and action. The once you have transparency, equity, fairness, and in all our processes, policies, and actions, perhaps you'll find that many of the conflict, for example, when somebody is selecting or promoting a person, before a person gets promoted, he might go to the court and get a stay order because there was some lack of transparency. And therefore, our system, if their systems are transparent, there's a sense of equity, fairness in all the processes, in all the policies, in all the actions. Many times we'll be able to avoid a mindless and endless quarrel and cumbersome litigation. Establish quality prerequisite in products and services. For example, as I said, that anything worth doing in life has quality dimensions, and these quality prerequisites will simply not come by saying, what are the quality prerequisites? Customer orientation, total quality people. In fact, I'm developing a theory that before we can think of improving the quality of our products and services, we need to improve the quality of people. Because a high quality people and sincere committed leadership are the only two prerequisites required to achieve great heights. And therefore, this total quality mindset is customer oriented, develop, nurture, inculcate total quality people, a preventive focus. You prevent a problem, a stitch in time saves 9. Instead of only recognize a problem when crisis erupts. So they put preventive focus, prevent a problem rather than doing firefighting. Any amount of preventing a fire is much less costly than extinguishing a fire once erupted. So preventive driven mindset, data driven decision making, and involvement of all stakeholders in quality journey. And finally, the 21st one, enrich teamwork by the people as a win-win strategy. Team is an acronym. Together, everyone achieves more. And therefore, if people recognize that teamwork is good for everyone, it's a win-win strategy, and therefore people would then start avoiding cutthroat individualism. And therefore, this definitely would bring in a greater degree of understanding, homogeneity, a better cordial relationship, enrich teamwork by recognize that only teamwork can find a solution to the problems in a sustainable manner in a win-win basis, and so that together everyone achieves more. And this I thought for our 21 mantras, we will address that. All these are primarily intended to address the mindset issues. And getting them there is not an easy job, but that's why re-engineering, a major fundamental rethink. And only then you can think of becoming a wish guru, because you have all other parameters in place in terms of quality of mind and demographic dividend and all that goes with it. But develop a respect for your own people, your own processes, your own knowledge systems first. And do not just blindly respect anything that comes out from outside. If this
maybe there is a bit of a connectivity issue.
India that we live in. And if we do that, and
Sir, you have to unmute, sir.
okay. Are you able to listen? Hear me
Yes,
now?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm through with my my presentation, and I'll be very happy to respond.
Surely. I would just quick editorial comments. Each and every mantra is truly a mantra. Each and every word which is embedded out there, it makes the entire purport disambiguous, and it adds to the whole value of it. जैसे हमारे यहाँ मंत्रों में मात्राएं होती हैं, which makes it truly poetical. So this is what Sir has distilled his lifelong wisdom into these 21 mantras, which surely can become a kind of a national 21 सूत्रीय कार्यक्रम अगर वास्तव में भारत को उस विश्व गुरु के स्तर पर प्रोजेक्ट करना है, प्रक्षेपित करना है, तो ये वास्तव में ये ई मंत्र है. नाउ वी ओपन द फोरम. देयर इज अ गैलेक्सी ऑफ luminaries as an audience alongside, so that shows the depth and the kind of breadth which Professor Vrat has really presented it to us, a kind of a national program linking minds with mindset. So the floor is open, and I invite everyone to just their comments and their inputs, whatever over there.
Can I come in, sir?
Please, sir. Please, sir. Please.
I think hats off to Guruji, Professor Prem Vrat, for encapsulating all that we have been hearing since my research scholar days till whatever I am today. I said, can I add one more E to all the E's that you have already given? Because most of us do the work very grudgingly and not really enjoy holistically the work that we do. So I think if we enjoy the work that we are doing holistically, then that could also lead to others, but not only happiness for yourself, but happiness for the whole society and for everyone at large. So I thought I'll just put in this E for enjoyment, if you agree to that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Benwood. Great.
Yeah, Rajesh Chedda, would you like to just come in? Yeah,
Okay.
please,
you.
please.
Thank you very much, sir, for inviting me. And it's as excellent as we have always heard Professor Premrat speak. Again, I am talking from my PhD days at IIT Delhi way back in the early 80s. Thank you so much, Professor Premrat, for bringing these some of these E's might look, as if these are some of the principles, but I think what is important is that each of this we have lived by and learnt when Professor Premrat was our guru, our teacher, and our mentor.
बीच में गैप हो गया था शायद कुछ एक.
Right. So I think Professor Premrat, since I have been working on the issues of trade for a long time, and you spoke so well about competitiveness of India's exports, and that is one of the things that India would make a lead into world leader, where we have gone down and China is still up.
Yeah.
So some of the things that don't gel well is that we know it for sure, but still we are currently resisting from joining free trade agreements, free trade areas, and also over the last few years, we see that protectionism is being increased. And when protectionism increases on imports, exports don't become competitive. So this kind of complexity in what we are all saying, but is not being practiced. I thought that if you would like to throw some light on this.
Actually, the solution lies in recognizing that if you really want to expect India to participate, to become a leader, you have to offer goods and services at a better quality at lower value for money. And for that, you need to really put in your house in order by registering competition or by giving greater degree of protectionism. In a way, indirectly, we are, saying that our product will not be able to compete in the market elsewhere. So focus lies, are we genuinely interested? और पहले तो अपना खुद का मैं बताएं कि अभी भी हिंदुस्तान में सस्ती होने के कारण लोग चाइनीज प्रोडक्ट को दिवाली में अभी भी ले रहे हैं. वो देश प्रेम की भावना इतनी नहीं दिखाते. एक्चुअली हमारा जो इंडियन माइंड है वो वैल्यू इंजीनियरिंग ड्रिवन है. उसको जहां सस्ती क्वालिटी मिलेगी अपने लिए लेने जाएगा. He'll go anywhere. तो लेकिन we need to first offer our products and services a genuinely great quality at a lower cost. Value for money is the only mantra which can put us. And once we offer that, there's no harm in opening up the economy, because then we are the gainers. But if you open up without becoming globally competitive, perhaps you would lose substantially. So this degree of protectionism is required to sustain your present level. Otherwise, वो होगा क्या है कि the moment you open to everything, and if my एक तो पहले मैकॉले mindset है कि anything बाहर की चाहे कितनी खराब हो अच्छे अपने से अच्छी मानते हैं. I've seen many times there are American professor coming to India, और मुझे नहीं लगता कि मुझसे अच्छा बोल लेता, लेकिन he would have access to every TV channel and everywhere, और मुझे वहां शायद पहुंचने में दिक्कत होगी. तो ये mindset है कि हर चीज बाहर की सुनहरी नहीं है. We need, and that's why a major mindset, we have to start respecting our own people first, our own product first, our own services. और जब तक वो नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन वो mindset है नहीं. अभी भी कोई चाइनीज चीज सस्ती मिलेगी मुझे तो उसे ले लूंगा विदाउट सेइंग कि भाई हमारे देश के हित में नहीं उनको लेना. तो mindset change बहुत आवश्यक है करना.
सर एक क्वेश्चन पूछ सकता हूँ?
हाँ जी बोलिए.
नितिन बोल रहा हूँ.
Okay.
Sir, I have been working with you now for quite some time under your mentorship. One thing that, when we look at the entire paradigm shift, how do you think we can, because आज की हमारी जो generation है वो तो already they are there, but there is an upcoming generation that is happening. And what I sincerely feel is कि जो ये attitude वाला बात है, that is not being taught anywhere in the institution. institutes or in the school. It's more focus on the marks and the other stuff. So how do you think we can build upon that, sir?
मैंने बताया, देखिए, these are intertwined. ये जो मैंने बताई ना, जैसे जब तक आप, to me the starting point is education, value education, concern for self and concern for others, preferably concern for others should be more dominant. तो value से आएगी. जब हम कट थ्रोट इंडिविजुअल में लगे रहेंगे, इधर आजू बाजू आगे लोगों को आगे कौन आगे निकले, तो वो वहां से सारी बीमारी शुरू होती है. देखो, एज आई सेड, इनफैक्ट आपको सिर्फ दो चीज कर लीजिए, which in fact when I was in Bangkok I heard this, I really, you see, some countries are developed, others are not. दो reason है. If you have sincere commitment of the leadership towards those objectives, and if you have good quality people, with these two prerequisites, everything else will fall in place. You'll make right policies, you evolve right priorities, and you can find out, circumvent the resource crunches and everything. अगर ये दो चीज आपके पास नहीं है, sincere, committed leadership and quality people, to invest in these two entities, the rest would follow. That's why I said.
Yes, I think we have Mohit Pahwaji, who is a research scholar from IIT Roorkee. IIT Roorkee, Prem founding director. He has some question. He has his hand. Mohitji, please, you may ask Professor Prem. Yeah.
So, can you hear me? I'm able to. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Loud.
Raghav ji, we are losing activity. वही मैं बोला ना कि e-commerce ये सब अच्छी चीज है, लेकिन इसमें credibility, reliability, dependability तो होनी चाहिए ना.
Sir.
तो anyway, I'm losing connections now and then, तो इसलिए बीच में सवाल रुक जाता है. आप जो पूछेंगे बताइए मुझे.
जी, Mohit Pahwaji from IIT Roorkee, he has a question to you, sir. He's a research scholar out there.
Okay.
Mohit Pahwaji, please.
Okay.
Very good evening, sir. This is the third meeting I am meeting you, sir. Prem, sir, I just met you last month. I met you with Professor Rangnekar, sir. I'm a research scholar of Professor Rangnekar, sir.
Yeah, long gap. Okay. Good.
Yes, sir. I met you last month, sir, in IIT.
Yeah, Rangnekar also is present in this meeting. Rangnekar is also present. बताइए.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to know, it was a really wonderful talk that you have talked about, that we should respect our employees or our people first. In respect of that, I just wanted to ask how we can enhance the readiness for change among employees, as I am working on that. So I just want to see how we can enhance the readiness for change.
Actually, the change is the most difficult thing, but the thing is, you be the change that you want to see. That's what Gandhi said. Be the change that you wish to be. So therefore, instead of changing others, first change yourself. And if everyone starts changing oneself, it'll have a cascading effect. But our trouble is we first expect others to change and we are not changing even an iota ourselves.
Right. Absolutely right, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
Sir, I'm Ravi Shankar, sir.
Yeah.
From IIT Delhi. Sir, your talk that I heard, it is one of the very, very excellent talk and very inspiring one. In fact, in these 21 e-mantras, you encapsulated the past glory, talked about the Nalanda, the present scenario, and also gave a lot of direction for the future. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful session that we had today. In fact, all these e-mantras, they also convey the roadmap for excellence. One question, sir, why do you call it E? Because E generally has a connotation with the electronic things, like email or e-way or something like that. So is there any special reason you wanted to prefix E to this? Because it's true for everyone, every situation, all times to come.
Yeah, true. Actually, it's a global. We're talking. I'm not talking a specific sector. I'm talking the change of mindset. and it applies to all of us. We all need to work, and that's why maybe the beginning is a tall order, but so is the desire of being the wish guru. Without addressing the tall order, you can't achieve that great objective. So I did mention it's not an easy job, but it's doable. But it will require a total focused attention of the entire country towards that goal. But I can almost vouch that agar ye hum kar sakte hain, and given the brilliant minds we already have, God has been kind on us. Koi hame rok nahi sakta. And in the past we were.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Rohit Ladarji wants to come in. Rohit Ladarji.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to speak. We have been blessed to have a guru like Professor Prem Vrat. And when I attended the first mentor-mentee meeting with sir, so sir told all of us to develop inner excellence, and I started working on it.
It's 17 hours.
So when I started working on my inner excellence, I was really able to see the difference in my attitude, the way I'm attempting my, approach towards things. So it has really been a very learning journey with Professor Prem Vrat sir. And I'm lucky to be guided by him and to be mentored by him. So thank you, sir, for always mentoring us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think Shubham Gargji wants to come in. He has raised his hand, and probably maybe that's the, yeah, Shubham Gargji. Yeah.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, sir. I am from Delhi Technological University, second year student.
Okay.
Yeah. So, sir, I saw the presentation and I'm very inspired by it. But I have a small query. In one of the point, it was about the routine and mundane. E is equal to mc square. So, sir, the query was, if we join something new or if we start a project, if we join a job, for everything starts to looks exciting and we do it wholeheartedly in the beginning. But after a certain time, there is a routine, a mundanity comes in. So you said that we should.
I got your point. In fact, ये सबसे बड़ी quality journey हमारे में दिक्कत ये है. See, there is nothing like mundane in life, because once you know that job doesn't get done. Quality में basic lesson ये है कि there is nothing in life which is mundane or good. Because if that does, मान ली सोचिए कि आप क्लासरूम में अपने दिल्ली टेक्निकल यूनिवर्सिटी में आप लेक्चर देने जा रहे हो और आपको लगता है कि जो चपरासी जो ताला खोलता है कमरे का वो मुंडेन जॉब है, उसने ताला नहीं खोला, क्या लेक्चर दे लोगे? देखो, in a holistic framework, everything affects everything else in life. So the moment you take, nothing is mundane. So whatever you do it with full quality focus. और हमारी सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत यही है, आप देखिए जापान में मैं जब पहली बार गया था, तो जैसे बहुत सी वहां पे दरवाजा खोलेंगे होटल में तो वो करीब 90 डिग्री तक झुकती है वो, लेकिन सुबह से शाम तक वो सिर्फ झुकती रहती है ऐसे ही. But you still find that on their face there is because they take as an important part of their job. You're welcoming a visitor, and the way you welcome. अब मान लीजिए आप 4-5 बार तो झुक जाइए और बाद में थक के अपना मुंह बना लीजिए, तो looks mundane, लेकिन जो विजिटर की एंट्री पे आपने मूड खराब कर दिया कि भाई ये भी कोई होटल है. तो पॉइंट ये है कि nothing in life is mundane, and therefore उसके लिए एक सिंपल सब रूटीन मंत्र है. Do what you love, but love what you do. So if you are able to get something more important, do that. But till then, love what you're doing. So therefore, nothing. And that's why उस मंत्र का मतलब ही है कि कुछ भी mundane नहीं है. Anything that you do it with passion. और उसकी जो corollary आपने देखी, if you do things half-heartedly, literally is equal to mc square, मतलब ये था c is 0.5, e becomes 1/4. So therefore, excellence and indifference cannot coexist. If you really are indifferent in what you're doing, this is a mundane job, it's boring, it's repetitive, you can never excel. And excellence is anything done with a great quality focus, whether mundane or strategic. That's why there's nothing mundane. That's a job. You love the job you do, but do the job that you love.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
So here we come.
In fact, sir, you are so right that we as a professor or teacher, we teach almost every day.
मैं 54 साल से पढ़ा रहा हूँ IIT दिल्ली में, अभी पढ़ाता हूँ फ्राइडे को, और मैं कहूँ यार बोर हो गया, मैं पढ़ाते पढ़ाते तंग आ लिया. But you'll find कि मैं इस उम्र में भी मेरा पैशन, और जब 68 में मैं लेक्चरर बना था IIT दिल्ली में, उसमें मुझे कोई फर्क नजर नहीं आता, because I love the job.
Yes, true, very right, very right.
That teaching gives me. लेकिन अगर इसको मैं मान के बोर हो गया, मुंडेन हो गया, इसका मतलब I don't love the job. So love the job that you do, and then do the job that you love.
You are the best example of that, sir. So I wanted to quote that, but you already explained that. Thank you, sir. Yes,
so
you are a really role model.
we come to the conclusion of this marathon session of ReTHINK India Forum 2022, and what a valedictory, I would say, address. And this brings, this gives us a great responsibility on all the audience, and especially we, the hosts at ReTHINK India. Sir has really given the 21 E-mantras, which really require, as Sir himself said, that long papers, and how each and every mantra can be really deployed in the sovereign institutional frameworks. This is what has been our concerted push. So our pranams to Professor Prem Vrat for really giving out like a Manishi, a Rishi, these 21 E-mantras for re-engineering India, and they are integral in their own fashion. If we really draw a graph, a value graph of all these E-mantras, each one of them is getting connected to the other one from empathy. You really, so it's an integral from a quartet. Sir has expanded it to a 21 kind of metric, and probably perhaps sometime down the line we might be having 21 independent deliberations on each of these mantras, where other luminaries from other walks of national life would really come, because these mantras have to be propounded like a national program for re-engineering India. And as Sir has said, that we don't have a lacuna of mind, but the lacuna of mindset is so very profound, the systemic thing. And this is what we try to put forward, that excellence, one institution at a time. At a sovereign institutional level, we can truly champion each one of these E-mantras. And with this sankalpa, and it's with this thought process, and this is truly in the light of Sri Aurobindo, whose 150th anniversary is being commemorated by the entire country, that India of the ages is not dead, nor has she spoken her last creative word. She lives and has still something to do for herself and the human peoples. And Professor Prem Vrat has really summed it up so very well. So many workable mantras for really re-engineering each one of our zones of control, zones of influence. So with these words,
thank you very much.
Pranams to Professor Prem
Thank
Vrat
you,
and all
Mr.
the audience.
Dr. Surabhi,
Pranam.
and all the